You know, sometimes I wonder if I'm going to be alone forever. Sometimes I'm just sitting there and I think maybe I never will find that person. Maybe I'll never meet that group of people that are there with me until the day I die. Maybe I will never meet the love of my life that I thought I may would one day. And it's a scary feeling thinking that maybe one day you may die alone. But I think the fear of dying alone in itself is what makes it so scary. Because dying alone doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be bad as long as you've made memories along the way and had people throughout your life that you've experienced true happiness with. Even though you may end up alone in the end, if everything you've done led up to what you have had in life was good and everything you've done throughout your life was things that you've wanted to do with your life, is it really so bad dying alone? I kind of think sometimes I'm most happy when I'm alone. So I sometimes just think that when people are so scared of dying alone or so scared that they may never find the love of their life, I just think that it's kind of overlooked, because it's not as bad as I think people intend it to be. People make it out that dying alone and being alone for the rest of your life, or when you're 80 or 60 or 70 and you're home with nobody around you but yourself, it's so bad. But sometimes I just like being alone, and I really think that this world has just made this thing of being alone such a bad thing that everybody's scared to be alone and end up alone in life. But as long as you, I feel like, experience life the way you want and you enjoy your presence, if you're happy with the life that you live, if you're happy with the things you've gone through in life, if you're happy with the things you've done throughout your life, then is dying alone really so bad? Is being alone in the end actually so bad that you're in constant disappointment or fear that you have nobody by your side in the end? Even though throughout your life you made the memories, you did the things you wanted to do, you lived the life that you enjoyed living and had a life that you loved, but you may have ended up alone in the end, and that really isn't bad. I think people just make it out to be so bad that when you're alone, it's such a terrible thing. But I think being alone is such a relieving thing, honestly. I feel like when you're alone, you have nothing to really worry about. When you're alone, it's just you, yourself, your own mind, and really nothing to really tell you what's right from wrong, nothing to really stop you, nothing to really tell you what you gotta do in your life, nobody to make rules for you, kinda. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have that partner, that companion, that person that you can talk to or have by your side, but, I sometimes think maybe I am better off alone. But then I also think that I want to be loved, but if I wanted to be loved, why do I always want to end up being alone sometimes? If I always wanted to be alone, why do I have this feeling of wanting to be loved? And I think it's just emotions that every person develops throughout their life, wanting to feel needed. And I just feel like it's not so bad wanting to be alone, but we just want to feel needed at the same time. We want to feel included. We want to feel recognized. But at the same time, we want to be alone in our presence sometimes. I enjoy being alone. I like being by myself sometimes. I like staying in my bedroom. But there are times, there are moments, there are times in my life where I feel like I need a companion. I feel like I need somebody by my side. I need a partner. I need someone that I can just talk to. And even though those days that I feel like that may be hard, I always just feel like I'm better off just being alone, not being a distraction to anybody, not being a nuisance to anybody, not having to cause any problems or have to worry about consequences to things, or really just not having to be such a pain to someone else's life. I feel like that's what it is that I feel I may intrude. I feel like I may be intruding, but I always just want to be alone. But to be loved is another type of feeling that I wish I could just have. But I also just love being alone at the same time. I never really know if what it is I want in life, but emotions wise, what it is I want in life in the end, but I never know if it's I just want to be alone or just have somebody. And I think that's okay. Still got plenty of time left to figure it out. But